I'm a relationship trauma coach out of Jersey. Appreciate everybody that's going to tune in, those that are going to tune in tonight. Basically, what I'm on here to do tonight is just kind of give some free information or some information for those individuals that have been in relationships which have been very traumatic and they've gone through a lot of difficulty, and to try to help them get to the next phase, to help them get past where they are right now. And one of the things I was thinking about today, and part of the reason why I wanted to get on here is I ended up seeing a video on another channel. It was a live that was going on, and there was a panel of people that were up in the boxes, and there was one young lady in particular that because I was just kind of sitting on the outside listening. There was one young lady in particular that was in one of the boxes, and she was talking. And as she was talking, she kept saying, "I don't care. I don't care." Everything she said, she started it with, I don't care, doesn't matter, so on and so forth. This was kind of her mindset. And as she was talking, I began to get a revelation from what she was saying. And so what I did was I started jotting some things down. I took some notes down, and I started writing about that because it's a phase and it's a process, or it's a place that many of us have been and many of us will go, based upon some type of hurt or some type of traumatic experience which is taking place within our lives. And again, I'm a certified relationship trauma coach, so I just sensed where she was when she kept saying, "I don't care, doesn't matter." And the stuff she was talking about was her ex, and she was talking about their house and the different things that were going on, and how much she didn't care and how much it didn't matter. But the more she said it with her words, the more I felt it in my body that she actually did care, because she had so much of an emotional reaction to the fact of what was going on in concerning her marriage and concerning her relationship, or what was her relationship. And the thing is, it's easy to say verbally that we don't care, but the actual truth behind anything that goes on is that many of us, we do care. And part of the reason that shows that we do care is because when you think about it, who wouldn't care? I mean, because when you think about it, you're married, you're in a relationship. Okay, so you're in this relationship, and you've been in this relationship for a number of years, and you've dedicated yourself to this person, and you've been honest with them, and you've been open, and you've shared your heart, and you've given to them, and you've tried to be there for them. And through this process, they turned around and they didn't value your heart. They didn't really see the value of your heart. And so through that process, this individual ended up going out and was involved with another person. And so because of the pain of her finding out that he was involved with another person, it brought a lot of pain. And one of the things that happens when we have pain is many people, they want to hide out. They want to hide. And one of the defense mechanisms that we have internally and naturally within our bodies is denial. Denial is one of the natural protective mechanisms, I'll call it, that we have within our bodies. It's called denial, where we don't want to face things that have happened. But it also ties into when you look at the 5 stages of grief. I wrote a book. A while back. I can't even say a while back. The book just got published about a month ago. It's called How the Pain of Heartbreak Propelled Me to Healing. And in my book, I talk about those stages of grief. This is why I can see them, because I actually went through them. I went through them because I was in a long-term relationship. And the long-term relationship that I was in, it ended up ending. And because it ended over a period of time, and because of the heartbreak, and because of investing my heart into someone and it not working, there was this whole heartbreak and all this pain and all these different things that went on. And so I ended up realizing over a period of time that I was in grief. I was grieving. And so through the grieving process, it's a natural process that all of us, when you go through heartbreak, it's going to happen, that you're going to kind of bleed right into grief. Because this whole thing starts, and I'll get back to that other story, but this whole thing starts with, first of all, we have something that we're attached to. We have some form of an attachment that comes up, or that's in our lives, or that comes around our lives. Something that we want, something that we're attached to. Because of that thing that we're attached to, we end up finding we end up getting or finding a certain amount of I'll say love or admiration for that thing, because it's something that we value. So when you're attached to something and then you lose that thing, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a person, whether it's a place, whether it's a thing, then what automatically happens is, because of that loss, you're going to go through a place of heartbreak. Your heart will be broken. When your heart is broken, you automatically, again, you bleed right into grief, because loss always equates with grief. When you lose something, you will grieve. If it's something that you have invested a good portion of your heart into, you will feel the pain of the loss of that thing no longer being in existence within your life. And so because of it no longer being in existence, you feeling that pain, what happens is there's reactions and there's certain protective I call them mechanisms or protective parts of us in our bodies. And one of the way that your body protects you is that it automatically, again, it's going to take you to denial, but it automatically takes you through stages. And one of those stages is grief. When you're in grief, you could be, grief is going to have you in a constant up and down. You're going to be in the wave. It's a wave of grief because one day you could be in denial. The next day you could be in acceptance. The next day you could be in anger. The next day you could be in negotiation. You can be all over the place at any given time, because grief is something that it sneaks up on you based upon, again, that loss. Because when there is loss, there will be grief. When there is loss, there will be grief. And so back to that story, because this woman went through, a painful process of finding out that her ex, who's now her ex, was being unfaithful. Of course, she there's the divorce and there's the breakup of the family. So of course she's in pain. Of course she's in heartbreak. Of course she feels the heartbreak of loss. Of course there's grief. There's all of these different emotions. But the problem or the challenge that I find with so many individuals is that many people don't understand why they feel the way they feel. Many of you that are going to watch this video, and you that is particularly that's watching it, you're going to feel what you're feeling based upon the fact of you are grieving, and your body knows that there is a loss. Your body knows that there was some kind of an emotional connection that I have and that you had with some other person, some other place, or some other thing. Because it doesn't always have to be a person, but because of the level of connection, the level of connection that you had with that person, you feel the loss of them no longer being around. And one of the difficulties about relationships compared to like when a parent or someone, a family member, or someone passes, the grief of a parent or someone passes is that they're no longer here. But the grief of when a relationship no longer works, or it fails, or there's a divorce or breakup, is that person's still alive. You could go to the mall and see them. You could, wherever. So you're grieving an individual that's alive. So the point that I was trying to make and that I was trying to stress to this individual, is that yes, you should care. You should care that with the fact that because of this infidelity, now you're in the process of going through a divorce. Yes, you should care that because of the infidelity, now your family that was a full family with a mom and a dad, these kids that were raised in a family with their parents, now these kids are going to be raised in separate households with child support and all these other things involved as far as part of the ongoing relationship, which is going to affect those kids, because the events that took place not only affect the person, it affects the whole family, because it's the actions that we have affects not only us, but it affects our family, it affects our children, it affects our generations, it affects our extended family. Those that have maybe loved this person or been connected to this person and maybe believed in this person. And so the impact it's a rippling effect of the impact. And so the thing that I was trying to stress to this individual is that yes, it's easy to say, oh, I don't care. I said the same thing. But a lot of times things are said, but they're said and it's not really true. I did care. I did care that my relationship was busted up and that we were no longer going to be together, because I didn't get married to be divorced. I didn't get married to not take this thing to the finish line, because I believed in the vows. I believed in loving, honoring, cherishing, in sickness and health, till death or passing do us part. I believed in those vows. So this wasn't just idle words or something that I just frivolously threw up against the wall. This was something that was part of a process and something that part of what I believed and what I knew that could take place. And this is part of my vision, is I want to help people that are in this situation where they're in these toxic or dysfunctional relationships that want to get healthy. I don't want to talk to the people that don't want to get healthy, that don't want to change their situations. If they're in a negative situation and they don't want to change it, I don't want to talk to them. I want to talk to those that are in these negative situations, but that are willing to look at how they can change it and evolve and move past where they are, how they can get to the next place, the next level, how they can figure this thing out, because they're no longer acceptable. It's no longer acceptable for me to be where I am. It's no longer acceptable for me to do the things that I've done up to this point because I don't like the results that I've gotten. That's got to be the mindset. It takes a level of fight. Because one of the challenges with finding out certain hurtful things like this about a person that you've been with your entire life and for a number of years is that, you've trusted this person, you love this person, you've allowed this person into your heart, into your life, you allowed this person to experience you, you allowed this person to build memories and have special occasions and do all these things, travel and all the things that you did. And then you find out later that this person was not truthful. This doesn't even include all of the financial goals and the ambitions that maybe you two had together. And now that stuff is busted up and destroyed because of not being truthful and not keeping vows, because of not honoring the vow that was said. It's easy to make a vow, to say words. Words are easy to pronounce and say and to proclaim and say in front of everybody. Because the vows that we made in front of our, her family, his family, and before God, for those that believe in God. And with those vows, it's important that we make a vow, but also that with the vow that we make, that we keep that vow. Because then we are people that are honorable, that people understand that we are honorable and that we are honorable with our words, that our words are not just mere words that we're saying, but they're words that mean something and words of power. Words of transformation, words that are actually helping people to change their lives and to change their situations. So with this attachment, there is some type of a loss. And many things in our lives we can be attached to. You can be attached to your animals, you can be attached to your business, you can be attached to your job, you can be attached to your car, you can be attached to your home. And many times you see it. When there's major catastrophes in the different parts of the country and all over the world, you see people on the news, on camera, crying because their house just got wiped out by a hurricane or a tornado or fire or whatever else it's going to be. You see people on camera crying because their car and everything they had and every possession they had in that house just got burnt up because of fires, maybe in like California. And so my point with all of this is that when we invest our hearts in these things, there will be painful events that take place in our lives. This is part of the reason why I'm here, is to help people navigate through those difficult times, to find a place of healing, to help people, to coach them through, to go through and get there and gain their healing. So in the process of them gaining their healing, what happens is that then they can start finding their purpose. And as they find their purpose, then they're going to be able to fulfill their destiny, the reason for their existence on this earth, because you have a reason that you're here. You're not here by a happenstance or by some accident or by some osmosis. Your parents had a magical night, whether they're together still or not. There was a magical night and you, for whatever reason, came forth in this time and season. And you're here for a specific reason. And because of that, in the thing that I try to stress as I coach, because I'm a certified coach through John Maxwell, relationship trauma coach, I try to stress to my clients is that when you go through these trials or series of events which come to break our hearts, is that through that process that you would come from a place of allowing your heart to still stay open and stay pliable, that you wouldn't allow the venom, the hatred, the animosity, all of the things that were done against you to turn your heart to become like those that did certain things in your life. That you would keep up a high standard and that you would stand on the things that are right instead of fall for the things that are easy. Because when when we go through these experiences, there's major decisions that all of us make instantaneously. And one of the decisions is whether we're going to consider this thing that's before us and go through it, fight our way through it and get to the healing place, or if we're going to just kind of stay where we are and just not really do anything about it. Because we always, all of us, when traumatic experiences come, we're going to go to either to the place of fight or we're going to run away from it. We're not going to run away represents not dealing with it and not addressing it. Just because, and I tell this to clients all the time, just because you don't address something does not mean that it won't crop up or grow or flourish or grow. It's still going to grow regardless of if you're addressing it or not, because it's part of what happens. This is why, you know, in certain cultures, a lot of times you might have heard growing up that, oh, we don't talk about that, and oh, get over it, and it's not a big deal. And so you might have heard things like that. But what that was teaching you was not to really address the painful things that come into your life. It was teaching you to kind of avoid those things and to run away from them. And avoidance is not allowing us to be able to overcome things. The only way that you can get through and heal from a painful situation is that you have to be willing to sit down in that thing. Sit in it, feel it, know the origin of this. Where did this come from? Why do I feel this way? Getting a deeper revelation and understanding of why you feel the way you feel and why these different events have taken place. And so again, I appreciate every single one of you that are going to watch this video. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and sharing. My name is Arnold Austin. If you are someone that is considering coaching, you can reach out to me. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Facebook under Arnold Austin. And appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in. And thank each and every one of you. Thank you for hitting the like, subscribe, and the bell, and all the other good stuff. And like I always say on all of my videos, if you watch me on other social medias, I believe in you, but you got to believe.